In the sweltering heat of the African village of Ankulu, nestled deep in the heart of Nigeria's lush riverlands, where the mighty Niger whispered ancient secrets to the swaying palms, an old storyteller named Baba Olu sat beneath the sprawling arms of the great baobab tree. His voice, gravelly from years of spinning yarns by the flickering firelight, carried across the gathered crowd of wide-eyed children and elders alike. "Gather round, my kin," he began, his eyes gleaming with the fire of untold drama. "For I shall weave for you a tale of betrayal most foul, of shadows that swallow the living, and of a vengeance that rises like a storm from the grave. This is the story of Kofi, the son of the elder, whose sisters sought to bury him alive, only for him to return as their darkest nightmare. But heed this. The tale is laced with tension that grips the soul, emotions that tear at the heart, and a curiosity that will leave you breathless. And oh, the humor in the midst of horror, wait for it, for even the gods must laugh at mortal folly." The night had fallen like a shroud over Nkulu, the moon hiding its face as if ashamed to witness the deeds unfolding. Ebeli and Kioma, Kofi's own blood sisters, their faces contorted in a mass of greed and fury that would make the village hyenas envious, seized their brother under the cover of darkness. Kofi, strong and wise from years tending the herbal gardens his father had passed down, fought like a cornered lion. "Sisters, what madness is this?" he roared, his voice echoing through the thorny acacia bushes that clawed at his skin like accusing fingers. Ebele, the elder of the two, her beads clinking like chains of doom, tightened her grip on his arm, her nails drawing blood that glistened black in the starless night. "Father's wealth is ours, Kofi. You, with your favored ways and secret knowledge, you steal it all." Kioma, sly as a serpent in the grass, cackled with a laughter that chilled the air, shoving him toward the shallow pit they had clawed from the earth that very afternoon, hidden in the old burial grounds where ancestors slumbered uneasily. The tension mounted like a gathering thunderstorm. Kofi's heart thundered in his chest, each beat a desperate plea for escape. Would the village drums, silent now, summon help? Or would the night swallow his cries? They bound his wrist with rough sisal ropes that bit into his flesh, and as they lowered him into the grave, the damsel clung to him like the embrace of death itself. "Beg the ancestors for mercy, brother," Ebeli sneered, her voice dripping with venom. Dirt cascaded down in clods, striking his face, filling his nostrils, his mouth, suffocating, relentless. Kofi's eyes widened in terror, the weight pressing on his chest, stealing his breath. But then, in a twist of fate so absurd it could only be the trick of mischievous spirits, a wandering goat, mangy and stubborn, the very one that had been the village nuisance for weeks, blundered into the scene. Its split shattered the night like a comical alarm, and in its confusion, it charged straight at Ebile, ramming her ample behind with its stubby horns. Ebele yelped, a high-pitched squeal that pierced the tension like a spear, tumbling forward into the half-filled grave atop Kofi. Her elaborate wrapper, woven with threads of gold from their farthest trade, unraveled in a chaotic tangle, exposing her in a most undignified manner. "Curse this beast!" she shrieked, flailing like a fish on dry land. Kioma, trying to haul her sister out, grabbed at the goat's tail, only for the creature to whirl and chomp down on her prized beaded necklace, yanking her into a ridiculous jig as beads scattered like fleeing stars. Kofi, buried to his neck, couldn't suppress a choked laugh through the dirt, tears of fear mingling with those of hilarity at the sight of his treacherous sisters reduced to a slapstick spectacle. The emotions surged, betrayal's sting sharpened by this fleeting absurdity, a moment of levity in the jaws of death. But the tension snapped back viciously. The sisters kicked the goat away with curses that would wilt crops and redoubled their efforts, shoveling earth faster, burying Kofi alive as his world faded to black, his last thoughts a whirlwind of rage, sorrow, and unquenchable curiosity. How would he return? and what form would his vengeance take? Ah, my listeners, if that opening has your hearts racing and your minds hooked on this epic of African intrigue, pause now and hit that subscribe button on this YouTube channel. Don't let the spirits of Nkulu pass you by. Subscribe for more tales of drama, magic, and comeback kings. And for a spark of engagement, drop a comment below. If a goat saved your life in such a hilarious way, what name would you give it? Let's flood the comments with your creative ideas. Now, let us delve deeper into the shadows of Nkulu. The village awoke to a dawn painted in hues of blood-red sun, unaware of the horror that had transpired in its fringes. Baba Olu paused, sipping from his gourd of palm wine, his voice dropping to a dramatic whisper that built the tension anew. Coffee, trapped beneath the earth, felt the cold fingers of despair claw at him. Every second stretched into agony. His lungs burned for air, his muscles screamed as he twisted against the ropes. Memories flooded him like the Nigerian flood season. Childhood games under the baobab, where Ebele had once shared her mangoes with him, and Kioma had braided his hair with laughter. How had greed poisoned that bond? The soil shifted slightly, a root from the ancient baobab protruding like a lifeline from the gods. With raw determination, Kofi grasped it, pulling with strength born of desperation. Inch by tortuous inch, he clawed upward, nails splintering, blood mixing with mud. The tension was palpable. Would the earth claim him forever? Faint sounds from above teased him, the crow of a rooster, the distant chatter of women. Fetching water from the river, curiosity burned. What lies had his sister spun to the village? At last, with a gasp that shattered the silence of his tomb, Kofi burst through the surface, reborn in the pale light of pre-dawn. He lay there, panting, the stars above mocking his survival. His body ached, scars etching tales of struggle on his skin, but his spirit, it blazed with a fire hotter than the village forge. Staggering through the mist-shrouded paths, he sought refuge in the abandoned hut of old Baba, the shaman, where dusty shelves groaned under the weight of forgotten potions and herbs. Here, amid cobwebs and the scent of dried roots, emotion overwhelmed him. Tears for the family lost, fury for the inheritance stolen. Father's gold beads, the land deeds that promised prosperity, these were now in his sister's grasping hands. Kofi brewed a concoction from forbidden leaves, ones that twisted dreams into nightmares, his hands trembling with the weight of his plan. As the sun climbed high, Nkulu pulsed with life. Women in vibrant wrappers pounded yam in mortars, the rhythmic thuds a heartbeat for the village. Children darted like fireflies, chasing scrawny chickens to the red dirt lanes lined with mud huts adorned with murals of mighty lions and watchful ancestors. Traders bartered cola nuts and woven baskets in the bustling market, where the air hummed with gossip. But beneath it all, tension simmered. Ebele and Kioma, in father's grand compound, with its thatched roof and carved wooden doors, divided the spoils. "The fool is gone," Ebele murmured, her voice laced with false triumph, as she counted beads that gleamed like captured sunlight. Kioma nodded, but a flicker of unease crossed her face. Had they truly silenced him? That night, as thunder rumbled distant warnings over the savannah, Kofi's revenge began in whispers. He slipped shadows into their dreams, the potion's mist seeping through cracks in their hut. Ebele awoke in a sweat-soaked terror, screaming of father's ghost rising from the river, pointing an accusatory finger. "He knows! He knows!" she wailed, her cries drawing curious neighbors who peered through palm frond fences. Kioma, in her chamber, watched in horror as her cherished beads crumbled to dust in her palms like sand through fingers. The village awoke to these omens, whispers spreading like wildfire through the market stalls. "A curse upon the sisters, the ancestors are angry." Tension built with every passing hour. Elders gathered under the baobab, their furrowed brows deepening as they debated spirits and signs. Curiosity gnawed at all. Who or what was haunting in Kulu. If this tale of rising vengeance has you on the edge of your seat, craving more dramatic twists from the heart of Africa, smash that like button and share this video with a friend who's into epic stories. What's your prediction for Kofi's next move? Comment below and let's discuss. Your thoughts could inspire the next tale. Days blurred into weeks, each one layering more drama upon the unfolding saga. Kofi, hidden in the shaman's hut, became a phantom in his own village. He left subtle marks, footprints in the crimson dust leading to his sister's door, etched with ancient symbols of retribution that made the elders gasp in recognition. Ebele's prized yam fields withered overnight, vines twisting into grotesque shapes resembling buried limbs, sending shivers through the farmers who tended neighboring plots. Kioma's hopeful suitors, brave young men from adjacent villages, fled in droves after visions of a spectral brother warning them away, with eyes like burning coals. The tension escalated. Rumors flew like arrows in a hunt, accusing the sisters of dark deeds. The village elder, wise old chief aide, called an urgent assembly under the baobab shade, where drums beat a somber, pulsating rhythm that quickened hearts. A vengeful spirit walks among us, he proclaimed, his staff thumping the ground for emphasis, his voice trembling with the weight of years. Ebele and Kioma attended, their faces masks of feigned innocence, but beads of sweat betrayed them, glistening like guilty dew. One fateful evening, as lightning forked the sky and rain threatened to unleash its fury, Kofi chose his moment for confrontation. By the swollen river, where waters churned with the force of unspoken secrets, he ambushed Ebele as she drew water alone. Sister, his voice echoed from the reeds, distorted by the wind into a ghostly howl. She whirled, her water pot shattering on the rocks, eyes bulging in disbelief. Kofi, no, you are dead. We buried you. Tension peaked as thunder crashed, illuminating his scarred, mud-streaked face, a visage of resurrection. She lunged with a hidden dagger, its blade flashing like a serpent's fang, but Kofi dodged with agility honed from survival, the weapon slicing harmlessly through air. They grappled, rolling in the slick mud, the river's roar drowning their cries. Emotion poured forth like the impending downpour. Why, Ibele, we shared mother's lullabies, father's wisdom. Greed has made monsters of us all. Tears mingled with raindrops as they fought, Kofi's heart aching even in rage. Kioma, alerted by the commotion, rushed to the scene, her arrival turning the duel into a triad of turmoil. The three siblings faced off amid the storm, the air thick with lightning-charged regret and unresolved fury. Winds howled accusations, waters lapped at their feet like judging tongues. But Kofi, his plan far from complete, melted back into the shadows, leaving his sisters drenched and shaken, their alliance cracking like parched earth. The narrative deepened, my friends, as Nkulu's Grand Harvest Festival loomed, a time of mass dances and palm wine flowing like rivers. Kofi, lurking in the forest fringes where wise monkey troops chattered and mimicked human follies, plotted his grand reveal. Those monkeys with their antics of stealing fruits in greedy grabs that echoed his sister's betrayal brought rare bursts of laughter to his somber days. Funny how nature mirrors man's absurdity. Yet tension prowled like hyenas in the underbrush, their glowing eyes a reminder of dangers unseen. Subscribe right now if you're enthralled by this blend of African mysticism, heart-wrenching emotion, and nail-biting drama. Turn on notifications so you never miss a beat, and engage with me. Share in the comments a time when betrayal hit close to home and how you overcame it. Your stories fueled the fire. Festival night descended upon Nkulu like a velvet cloak studded with torch flames. Raffia scattered dancers whirled to the throbbing drums, masks hiding identities as secrets bubbled beneath the surface. Ebele and Kioma, crowned with feathers of false royalty, led the procession, their smiles brittle as dry clay. From the throng, Kofi emerged, cloaked as an ancestor spirit, his voice booming like thunder. Behold the betrayed one, risen from the soil's embrace. Panic erupted. Villagers gasped, some scattering like leaves in wind, others frozen in awe. The sisters halted, faces draining of color, paler than peeled cassava. Tension exploded as Kofi tore off his mask, revealing his living form. I endure, sisters mine, and your reign of terror ends. The nightmare you birthed now haunts you. Chaos reigned supreme. Denials flew from Ebele and Kioma's lips like desperate arrows, but the tide turned. Witnesses emerged. The goat's owner, chuckling over the burial farce he'd glimpsed from afar, elders recalling suspicious absences. Emotion crested like a wave. The village's wrath surged, demanding justice as tears of realization flowed. Father's spirit, it seemed, rustled approval in the baobab leaves. Yet, this was merely the prelude to greater drama. Exile beckoned for the sisters, but Kofi, now master of Father's compound, wove a web of redemption and retribution. He rebuilt with healing herbs that mended the ailing, earning the village's reverence. Nights, however, brought haunting dreams of what could have been, siblings united, not divided. Tension renewed when Abele crept back under cover of night, her plea raw and dramatic. Brother, forgive. Greed was a demon that possessed us. Her voice cracked like thunder, eyes brimming with remorse. But was it genuine? Kofi tested her with a truth serum potion, extracting confessions of hidden poisons once meant for him, the revelations unfolding in a torrent of emotion that left them both weeping by the fire. Kioma followed suit, her pride shattered like a dropped calabash. The trio convened by the hearth, unraveling years of tangled tales, childhood pranks, shared joys, the slow poison of envy. Laughter pierced the sorrow, recalling the goat's comedic intervention, chuckles echoing through tears. Yet curiosity lingered like mist. Could fractured bonds mend, or would betrayal's echo persist? Under Kofi's stewardship, Nkulu flourished. Markets teemed with spices from afar, carried by traders on canoes down the river. Children absorbed forgotten lore in open air schools beneath the palms. Prosperity bloomed, but shadows of doubt crept in. Whispers of the sisters scheming anew, alliances with shadowy figures from distant villages. Tension mounted with every sunset, every unexplained wilted crop or eerie night cry. Hey there, if this emotional epic has you hooked deeper than ever, subscribe and ring the bell for more. Comment your favorite dramatic moment, the river fight or the festival. Reveal, and let's keep the conversation alive. Time wove on, years stacking like layers of earth. Kofi wed a gentle soul from a neighboring hamlet, their union blessed with children whose laughter filled the compound where once betrayal reigned. Ebele and Hioma, tentatively forgiven yet eternally vigilant, wove back into the fabric of village life. But one moonless night, mirroring that fateful burial eve, an inexplicable pull drew Kofi to the old grounds. The grave whispered, roots stirring as if alive. Strange omens recurred, failing harvests, spectral visions. Had his sisters truly reformed, or did vengeance's cycle spin eternal? Tension rebuilt, curiosity a relentless tide, drawing him deeper into the mystery. In the sweltering heat of the African village of Nkulu, nestled deep in the heart of Nigeria's lush riverlands, where the mighty Niger whispered ancient secrets to the swaying palms, an old storyteller named Baba Olu sat beneath the sprawling arms of the great baobab tree, his voice gravelly from years of spinning yarns by the flickering firelight carried across the gathered crowd. And so the tale loops ever dramatic, ever lengthening in the telling, for in Ninkulu, stories never truly end. They bury themselves only to rise anew. To expand this saga even further, let us journey back to the roots of the conflict. Long before the burial night, in the days when Father, the revered elder Obina, ruled with a wisdom as vast as the savannah, tensions had simmered like a pot over low flames. Obina, with his beard white as cotton balls and eyes sharp as eagle's talons, had always seen potential in Kofi, the youngest. My son, he would say, clapping a heavy hand on Kofi's shoulder, the herbs speak to you as they do to no other. You shall carry our legacy. Ebele and Chioma, though skilled in the arts of trade and weaving, felt the sting of oversight, their contributions dismissed like chaff in the wind. Jealousy festered, dramatic confrontations erupting in hushed tones behind hot walls. Ebele's voice rising in accusation. Father, why him? We toil in the markets while he plays with leaves. Kioma, ever the instigator, fanned the flames with sly words, planting seeds of doubt that grew into thorny vines of resentment. Obina's death came suddenly, a fever that no herb could quell, leaving the village in mourning shrouds of black cloth. The funeral rites, with drums beating a dirge that shook the earth, amplified the drama, Erbile and Kioma wailing theatrically, while Kofi stood stoic, his grief a silent storm. The inheritance reading under the baobab, witnessed by elders, sealed the rift. Lands and beads to Kofi, mere trinkets to the sisters. This injustice, Ebele thundered privately, her fists clenched. Tension built as they plotted in secret meetings by moonlight, their whispers carrying on the breeze like omens. Kofi's escape from the grave, as I told, was but the spark. In the shaman's hut, he delved into forbidden lore, scrolls yellowed with age, detailing spirits that could be summoned for aid. One night, under a canopy of stars, he called upon the ancestor Ogun, god of iron and war, his incantations dramatic, voice rising to a crescendo that startled nightbirds from their perches. A vision appeared, a fiery apparition promising power, but at a cost, his humanity tempered with shadow. Emotion warred within him, elation at survival, dread at the path ahead. The hauntings intensified. Not content with dreams, Kofi orchestrated illusions, mirrors in the market reflecting not faces but skeletal grins, causing traders to flee in panic. Kioma's loom wove threads that bled red, staining her hands like guilt manifest. Ebele found her water gourds filled with soil instead of liquid, a grim reminder of the burial. The village buzzed with fear, elders consulting oracles, chicken entrails read under torchlight, predictions dire and dramatic. A subplot unfolded with young Amina, Kofi's secret admirer, from the River clan, who stumbled upon his hideout. Kofi, the spirit said you were gone, she gasped, her eyes wide with curiosity. Their alliance added layers, romantic tension as they shared stolen moments, planning together. Amina's bravery shone when she spied on the sisters, uncovering a hidden cache of poisons smuggled from Port Harcourt traders. The revelation built suspense. Would she be caught? Emotion deepened as Kofi confessed his love amid the drama, their kiss a beacon in the storm. If you're lost in this expanded web of intrigue, hit subscribe and join the tribe. Comment. Who do you side with, Kofi or the sisters? Debate in the comments. Festivals came and went, but the confrontation at the harvest dance was legendary. As masks swirled and fires leapt, Kofi's unmasking sparked a riot of emotions, villagers torn between loyalty and fear. Chief eyed, dramatic in his judgment, banished the sisters temporarily to the forest edges, where they endured hardships that humbled them, scavenging for food, evading wild beasts, their cries echoing back to Nkulu. Upon their return, redemption arcs wove in. Ebele, broken, apprenticed under Kofi in herbs, her hands learning to heal rather than harm. Kioma, with her trading savvy, brought prosperity through honest deals. Yet, subtle tensions persisted, mysterious thefts, whispers of sabotage. Kofi's children grew, one daughter inheriting his gift, adding generational drama. Years later, an external threat loomed, raiders. From the north, drawn by rumors of Nkulu's wealth, the siblings united in defense, a battle scene of epic proportions, arrows flying, drums rallying warriors, Kofi's potions turning the tide. Victory came, but at cost. wounds that reopened old scars. On another moonless night, Kofi returns to the grave, finding it disturbed. A note from the sisters or a new betrayal. Curiosity pulls, tension rises. In the sweltering heat of the African village of Nkulu,